Coming up in tonight's bulletin, SINU hosts inaugural research seminar focused on sustainable and inclusive development. The Pacific Labour Mobility Annual Meeting 2025 is set to officially open in Honiara tomorrow, and a media masterclass training is currently underway on Koro Palau, bringing together journalists and communications officers from disaster management offices across the region. Hello, you're watching SIBC's TV News Bulletin. I'm Cheryl Berra. The Solomon Islands National University today placed the spotlight on sustainable and inclusive development, bringing together leaders and researchers for its first ever Panatina Research Seminar. Andrea Ma'ahanua reports.
Sustainable and inclusive development took center stage today at the Solomon Islands National University. The national institution held its inaugural Panatina Research Seminar, bringing together government officials, academics, policy leaders, students, and community representatives to explore ways to address the nation's evolving challenges.
Our theme, navigating change towards sustainable and inclusive development, could not be more timely. The world around us is changing rapidly, environmentally, socially, and economically, and the Solomon Islands must steer its course wisely through these shifting currents. The forum is designed to help us exactly do that. The Panatina Research Seminar is envisioned as a national nexus for interdisciplinary dialogue, research, and policy debate on Solomon Islands development. In other words, it is a platform for action. And through this seminar series, we aim to gather global experts, local stakeholders, policy architects, and students to share insights and best practices, spur collaborative research, uphold local voices, and ultimately guide better policy and practical solutions for our country.
The important role of academic research in shaping informed policies was highlighted in the opening session, including the ongoing issues such as data limitations and the need for stronger collaboration between government agencies and SINU.
Ladies and gentlemen, the government regards SINU not merely as an academic institution, but as the nation's central hub of knowledge, an essential partner in shaping policy and guiding development planning. This role is especially critical given that research and development within the public sector has in many respects lagged behind. Addressing this gap is imperative, and SINU is uniquely positioned to lead the way.
We need a culture where data and evidence inform policy rather than politics or personal interest. We must also assert our research sovereignty. Solomon Islands research should be assessed and validated by Solomon Islands in Solomon Islands because we know our own context, our culture, and social realities. It undermines credibility when foreign academics who have never set foot on this country assess and validate research about our lives, customs, and our future. I therefore call on SINU to rise to the challenge and take leadership in producing our own knowledge. We cannot continue to be consumers or distributors of externally produced knowledge. We cannot continue to buy knowledge. If we are not cautious, the knowledge we buy and consume may work for us or against us.
The seminar covered topics ranging from climate change adaptation and innovation, good governance strategies, agriculture, and fisheries. SIBC TV understands the event was supported by the Australian government through the Pacific Research Program, Phase 2, the Australian Awards Program, and the Solomon Islands Australia Education Partnership. Andrea Ma'ahanua for SIBC TV.
The Pacific region's key labour mobility meeting will open in Honiara tomorrow, focusing on fair recruitment and sustainable reintegration of Pacific workers. Sharon Anau with more on this story.
The Pacific Labour Mobility Annual Meeting 2025 is set to officially open here in Honiara tomorrow. The official opening of the meeting will be held here at the Aquatic Center just behind me. The event for this year is held under the theme Sustainable Reintegration, begins with fair and effective recruitment. Organized by the PACER Plus Implementation Unit, PPIU, which also serves as the Labour Mobility Secretariat, the 4-day meeting will gather representatives from PACER Plus member countries, including Australia, New Zealand and the 9 Pacific Island nations, along with observers from Fiji, Papua New Guinea and Timor-Leste. In a statement released by the PACER Plus Implementation Unit, reports Solomon Islands Minister of Foreign Affairs and External Trade, Honourable Peter Chanel Agovaka, said the country is honoured to host the event, noting that the region's growing labour mobility schemes must remain fair and transparent. Meanwhile, PPIU head Roy Lagolago said the meeting's theme highlights the importance of ethical recruitment. He said sustainable reintegration starts long before workers board a plane. The Pacific Labour Mobility Annual Meeting provides a platform for collaboration to ensure fair recruitment and better outcomes for Pacific workers and their families. Officials and delegates that will be attending the meeting have already started arriving into the country as of yesterday. SIBC TV understands over 10,000 Solomon Islanders are employed under the Labour Mobility Scheme. Sharon Nanal for SIBC TV.
A media masterclass training is currently underway on Koro, Palau, bringing together journalists and communications officers from disaster offices across the region. The training is held alongside the second Pacific Disaster Risk Management Ministers meeting. Eliza Kukutu, who is in Palau covering the ministerial meeting, filed this story.
As the challenges the media face.
Journalists and communication officers from disaster management offices across the region have gathered at the Royal Palau Resort in Koro, Palau this week for a media masterclass training. The training is held alongside the second Pacific Disaster Risk Management Ministers meeting, which brings together Pacific ministers and senior officials responsible for disaster management in the region. Supported by the Pacific Community and the Pacific Islands News Association, the training aims to strengthen collaboration between media professionals and disaster risk management stakeholders, enhancing the flow of information throughout the region.
I think this is really wonderful opportunities because oftentimes we don't have the opportunity as journalists to talk to the scientists, to talk to the management experts about this, and just to be educated on what's really going on and have better understanding makes it better for us as reporters to do our job better. It's so important because we are going through a period where natural disasters are becoming more and more frequent and more severe, and the importance of communicating with our communities and sending the messages and helping our communities make right decisions and ensure their safety is critical. And this process where we have the disaster experts and the science meeting with the media and helping us better communicate is critical, and this I cannot emphasize the importance of this training right now.
Participants hope to gain valuable insights into how to effectively communicate information about natural hazards and disasters to island communities.
I think for me, I hope for have a good knowledge about him how now media or journalism work alongside disaster management. Me work quite for some times now for National Disaster Management Office, but with regards to journalism or media, a new thing. Though me follow National Disaster Management Office, me follow liaison team during time operation, or call them programs and liaison, public liaison. But still, me will no garem now knowledge law about the media. So this time now training law here, by him giving me more knowledge now wakablo media, so integrate him now with the wakablo national disaster response activities. Yes, so with this training, me by try to look at ways how now by myself addressing not the gaps between delivering messaging, whether early warning or public disaster awareness for himself reaching out communities. Yeah.
Throughout Throughout the week, participants will have the opportunity to report on the ministerial meeting, which is set to officially kick off tomorrow. The meeting will focus on reaffirming regional unity in disaster risk management, with ministers set to make commitments towards improving disaster resilience and response in the region. Solomon Islands is represented in this meeting by the Minister of Environment, Honorable Polycarp Paya. For SIBC TV, I'm Eliza Kukutu reporting from Koro, Palau.
The Foreign Fisheries Agency, FFA, recent surveillance Operation Kurukuru 2025 recorded a decrease in boarding inspections and sightings of IUU vessels compared to 2024. Surveillance Operations Officer Mr. Yoni Fepuleai revealed this during a press conference marking the conclusion of the operation last week. He explained that the reduction was due to a higher number of patrol boats participating in the operation and unfavorable weather conditions during the surveillance period. Operation Kurukuru 2025 is one of the region's largest coordinated maritime surveillance operations targeting illegal, unreported and unregulated IUU fishing across the Pacific waters.
So we've done a comparison in our closing brief today. The number of, for this operation for crew is a bit lower in terms of boarding inspections and sighting, and there's a reason for it. It's due to the number of patrol boats that were engaged in the operations. Of course, we respect that's a national decision, and it's subject to national process on releasing those to engage in the fisheries operations. We had weather as well as an impact. It was really bad weather down south, Fiji all the way down. So impacting the number of inspection and sighting that were being reported to us. But average, it's a bit lower, but we're looking at the quality of the information that were reported to us. So far, there is improvements compared to Kurukuru 2024.
He added that there were more than 100 boarding inspections conducted from key ports across the Pacific.
We've had 126 boarding inspection, all coming in from key port states within the Pacific, so vessels coming into port, and also the 10 surface assets that were providing surveillance within the EEZs, exclusive economic zones, but also there was some coverage on the high seas, which is really impressive, and we've passed on our congratulations to those members that have gone beyond their EEZs to cover the high seas pockets, including the air support from New Zealand and Australia. So 72 sightings, all coming in from our air assets, and out of all these contacts, we've identified around 11 vessels of interest with profiles linking to potential IUU activities in respective members' EEZ.
SIBC TV understands that after identifying 11 vessels of interest, 3 were apprehended and detained in Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea and the Cook Islands. Operation Kurukuru 2025 was conducted across more than 30 million square kilometers of the Pacific Ocean. Climate change is hitting the pockets of Solomon Islanders, with experts warning of rising economic costs discussed at a major finance workshop in Honiara. Andrea Ma'ahanua reports.
Climate change is affecting more than just the environment. It's also draining the pockets of ordinary Solomon Islanders. The growing concern over climate-related economic losses was a key focus at the recent CBSI ADB APEA joint workshop held in Honiara.
It is no longer just an environmental issue. It's a key economic one. For small island economy like ours, climate events directly affect food prices, infrastructure and trade. When supply chains are disrupted by floods, storm and droughts, prices rise. Our people bear the effects of climate-induced inflation through higher cost of goods and services. While global energy and commodity markets have remained relatively stable in recent times due to muted global demand, the risk from climate-related shocks persists.
Minister Ramaphosa says academic research can play an important role in shaping strong, climate-resilient domestic monetary and fiscal policies for the future.
This means our monetary policy frameworks need to account for climate risk and potential price volatility. Fiscal policy also has a role to play. By investing in climate-resilient infrastructure that makes our economy more resilient, and by supporting and shift towards renewable energy. The research on how climate change affects inflation in Solomon Islands is especially relevant. It gives us local evidence on how these global issues are shaping our economy, and how monetary and fiscal tools can work together to keep prices stable while maintaining macroeconomic stability as well as building climate-resilient economy.
A 2024 report from the International Monetary Fund reveals that Solomon Islands would need to spend an additional 6.9% of its projected 2030 GDP each year to meet both climate adaptation and sustainable development goals. Andrea Maahanwa for SIBC TV.
And that's news. Follow us on sibconline.com.sb and our SIBC News Facebook page for more of our latest stories. Thanks for watching.